welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is entrepreneurial research and developmental systems, Inc. And of course, we have with us to talk about entrepreneurial research and developmental systems, Inc. Ms. JDavis1, who is the founder, the president, as well as the CEO of this organization. And the topic that we would like to talk about today is nonprofits, the stimulus fund acquisition, and general survival during this economic downturn. And of course, Ms. Davis, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
And I think, Ms. Davis, we've sort of outlined the topic today, and in a real sense, we outlined the show, dealing with the items that we believe that are very, very important, and some of the things that we believe that you can deal with in terms of enlightening our audience about some of the problems that we face now. But before we get into that, Ms. Davis, let's see if you can give our audience a general overview of your background, your education, and some of the things that were important in a real sense in leading you to establish an organization dealing with entrepreneurship and talking about survival during these economic downturns. Talk about it from that perspective.
Well, I grew up in Nashville, attended public school systems, attended TSU, and during my tenure at TSU, Dr. Harrison Wilson invited me to join the cooperative education program, which sent me to Washington. I worked under Leonard Spearman, who's over all the scholarships in the whole country. I worked with him, and then when I got ready to leave, they called me back after graduation to work in the Department of Commerce under Maurice Stans, who was in the middle of the Watergate debacle.
Very good.
And the first office I actually had was Jeb Stuart Magruder's office. And I worked there. I worked in Ombi when it first started under John Jenkins. Then I got recommended by Fulton and Howard Baker to go to the Justice Department. Got a lot of experience there working with a $500 million budget that I had to present to the U.S. congressional subcommittees under Yvonne Brathwaite Burke, and then I continued to work with them through the years. I ended up with Marion Barrett's administration as assistant to the treasurer, then at NBC Washington, director of financial controls, then National Public Radio as budget and grants administrator, and that's where I ended up dealing with the grants. And they sent me to George Washington University. I did work there, and that's when I said, my God, there's so much money here. Nobody ever would believe me. So that's how I got to where I am now. Had a lot of twists and turns. Then once I got in that, I went out on my own for a couple of years. I worked also with the Clinton Gore campaign, and from there the transition team, and then we went to the White House and they put me in student correspondence, and they asked me what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to work with grants, so they put me as a reviewer on the grant committees for these big grants, and each one has the same anatomy, whether it's a B-52 bomber or it's a little grant for somebody in Tupelo, Mississippi. So once I realized that, I said, my goodness, all you have to do is learn how to do the forms and you can get all kind of money. And that's when I started working. I had started out as JDavis Associates, then International Strategies. I did a stint with the Caribbean Basin Initiatives. So I did the corporate, nonprofit, and not-for-profit sectors. So I got clear training in everything. Unfortunately, some of my audiences weren't sophisticated, so I was giving out all this bleeding heart information and not getting paid, which is what I don't do anymore. But I got to the opportunity of being able to do the work, show them what to do, get them certified, and they have all kind of boxes full of dreams. I said, no, get certified, get your 501, get registered with the government, do all of those things, and then you can go out there and start seeking those kinds of funds and resources.
So in a real sense, Ms. Davis, you bring to us just a wealth of information dealing with what we consider to be very, very important. As a matter of fact, some of the things that we've talked about on this show earlier, and that is grants and the ability to be able to get our money in a real sense, money that we've in a real sense overlooked. And so during this second segment, as we come to the end of this first segment, we want you to go into how, how these grants are achieved and how they are given out, and some of the things that might be what we might consider an insider's view in reference to this, because I think what you've demonstrated now is that you've really got the information, and all you have to do is to have good listeners, because all they have to do is follow instructions.
That's key.
I've heard people say that on a number of occasions, that it's very, very easy to get the money if you know how to go about getting it. And you are promising us that you're going to tell us over this next segment how to get the money. And of course, we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.